I hate Negan, but I want to tickle his balls because he's fucking sexy.
Ronnie, what's up, dude? Good to see ya. It's Dwight. Just wanted to shout you out. Have a good day.
Welcome to Megapath Presents. I'm Ronnie Hayes, and today let's talk The Walking Dead Season 7, Episode 3, First Impression Review. Two things. One, fuck those commercials. Holy shit, I never bitch about commercials, but this episode, it was relentless. Took me out of the story every single time the screen went black and we saw some stupid commercial. Number two, if you're new here, I like to do afterthoughts videos where we dive in deep. We go over the important meanings, the symbolism, the foreshadowing, the callback. You name it, we do it. Or I do it. I don't know why I said we, but I do the best I can. They usually take a few days. Hopefully I'll get this episode's video out by the end of this week. If you want to watch episode 1 and 2 and see if that's something you're interested in, don't forget to subscribe and click on this eye up here. If you're watching this on whatever device, I'm sure you can click on the eye. You might not see it now, but click there. It will drop down. I'll put the links in that. Moving on to this episode, at the end of it, I really felt like, man, that's the best we could do for the Sanctuary. I feel like the material they used was too weak to be in a bottle episode. And if you don't know what a bottle episode is, that's really where you really focus on a small portion of the cast. For this episode, the main survivor we were following was Daryl. And I know we're getting introduced to the new characters, new-ish, which is Dwight and Negan, maybe a couple other background characters, but I didn't think the material here was strong enough to be on its own. And there were some parts, and I know this is the comic fan in me, but I was really hoping or looking forward to seeing, not having it told to us. There was two parts specifically where Negan came right out and said it. He talked about the structure. You could either be one of the dead walkers out on the perimeter or one of the guys, the grunts putting the walkers there. I kind of got that feeling like he was dissing them, like they are on they're the grunts, the shittiest position you could be at in the Sanctuary. The other bracket would be people who earn points, and that's like a separate community, not a separate community, but that's like a group of people in the Sanctuary who earn points. That is the currency, how they buy food. Like, they don't even have to go, the way I see it, they don't have to go earn out on runs. They don't have to go with the lineup or do whatever Negan says. I'm sure if he wants them to, they do, but I got the feeling that whatever they do, they earn. Like, if they make a craft or quilt or, I don't know, fucking make t-shirts or shoes, if they have any skills, they earn points, and that's how they get their food, yada yada yada. And then Negan said the third bracket, you work for him, kind of like Dwight. You get better living quarters. It looks like the room he was in when he was talking to Daryl and Dwight, it looks like you might get a room. But if you saw the promo images where they had curtains on strings and it separated little different areas inside the big factory, that would be where you lived if you were earning points. And then if you were working for Negan like Dwight or another guy, you actually got a room. So anyway, now that's one thing that I was disappointed. We didn't actually get to see that instead of it being told to us. We got glimpses in the intro, which the intro worked. Not this intro. This intro didn't work for me, and I get it. They were using the music they were using to torture Daryl. For me, it mirrored Carol's intro back in Season 6 after No Way Out. I thought that was wonderful with the music and how they did it. This intro, it didn't fit with me. Not only could I not stand that song, which that might have been the point because Daryl's being tortured with that song, but I just felt like for the Sanctuary, it didn't fit. For Carol, it fits. For the Sanctuary, I just wanted a more dark, more dreary opening, you know what I mean? Something to really bring the dread in. I don't know, maybe that's too much. But anyway, the other thing that Negan described that I wanted to see was the iron. I'm kind of really disappointed that he talked about it, we didn't see it. Now, we might see it later, but my gripe is still valid even if we see it later. Well, to me, not, to everyone. But the point is, the reveal should be actually seeing it, not just hearing about it. I feel like that takes away some of the gut punch. And because of the iron stuff, that got me thinking, if you're a comic book fan, I kind of feel like I'm disappointed in them, or the story of them going back to Negan and the Sanctuary. In Season 6, Episode 6, where Daryl ran into those people, they just kind of said, okay, fuck it, we're going home. And I feel like that was the writers going, okay, we got to take them out, they're on the run, yada yada yada. Sherry's sister dies and they changed their mind after coincidentally getting introduced with Daryl and all that, and then they just up and go back home. I kind of really just wanted them to get caught, something other, make it seem like they were still trying to get out of there. Just returning felt dumb, because even Negan explains he was going to kill one of them. You didn't know that? You were living there and you didn't know this guy would not just straight forgive you, which leads me to one of my bigger comic book complaints. And in the comic book, Sherry's a shit character, or at least that's how I interpret her. She just can't hack this world, can't hack earning points, living, surviving. And she's like, listen, Negan, I'll be your wife. And that way she doesn't have to earn points. It's like a gold digger. It's like somebody who goes with a rich dude, old dude, yada, yada, yada. Someone they don't want to be with. They do it anyway for that lavish lifestyle. Anyway, that's what she did in the comic, and she was a shit character. And it really made you feel bad for Dwight, because this is a person who's madly in love. Everything he's got is going to this girl who he thought loved him back. And she didn't. And I thought that was so awesome for his character. With this, it kind of feels like nowadays it's like, no, you can't make a character that's female that's weak and a shit character. You can't do it. You could do it if she dies soon, if it's a red shirt, just a bad guy that pops out of a bush, tries to stab you, and that's it. That's as far as her story goes. But for all the female characters, God forbid you get one weak shit character. You could still do a good job with a weak shit character. I mean, that's still a good role to have. It depends on the story that's surrounding that, how entertaining that is, how much you can make a character that's meant to be hated, not hated in a way you hate Negan, like where it's like, oh, I hate Negan but I want to tickle his balls because he's fucking sexy. Not in that way. I mean, you can have characters where you're like, fuck, I hate that fucking bitch, and I kind of was hoping that's who Sherry would be, but in this it felt like they made her more of a victim. They just went home to Negan, who's so understanding and forgiving with his fucking baseball bat. Anyway, so they go home, and Negan's gonna kill, and this is what Negan says, he's gonna kill fucking Sherry, right? He's gonna kill the bitch. Dwight's like, no, please don't kill Sherry. Negan's like, okay, I won't kill her, I'm gonna kill you. And then Sherry's like, no, please don't kill him, I will marry you. Negan's like, okay, that's cool, but you're not all that, bitch. So you're gonna marry me, and he's gonna get the iron. So, boom, that's his backstory. You see how it makes Sherry the victim? She sacrificed herself. She married Negan to keep Dwight alive. Now here, it does something strong. It makes the connection between Sherry and Dwight, it makes it more tragic. It really does. I just don't give a fuck about tragic. I didn't want tragic at that point in time. Now, if you're going to go down in the comments and bitch, oh, you're comic purist son of a bitch, in a week from now, I'll want tragic. I'll be like, okay, fine. I'll accept it once I let it soak in. But I wanted the shit character. I like the idea of a person who's so madly in love with all his heart with a woman who could give a fuck less. Yeah, I love you when it's convenient, maybe in the old world, but not in this new world. Anyhow, so that was kind of a huge letdown, but I see where they're going with this, making that a tragic, pull on the heartstrings story, because they did do that. If you're a comic fan, let me know. Speaking of the comic, at the very end, I'll give you a warning for those of you who are not comic readers. We're going to go into a spoiler, it's big. Just avoid it when I give the warning. With that said, I want to talk about Dwight's compassionate side, the good Dwight, because in episode 6 we saw Dwight who said, I've never killed before, once you do that there's no going back. And then in this episode we see him go after somebody who it seemed like they were kind of buddies with, or at least this is a person he knew before he got burnt, and the dude was like, man, life was totally different, you were totally different, who's this D in front of me? And then he basically says, listen, Dwight, I can't fucking do this anymore, just kill me, put me out of my misery. And this is where Dwight goes to the max of his cruelty. He threatens everyone that guy's ever smiled or talked to in a nice way, and he even threatens to dig up his dead wife and feed her body to the crows, some shit like that. So he's at the max evil that he can be, right? He's max evil right now. Immediately afterwards, the guy gets up, he's like, fine, you win, Dwight, and he starts walking away, and that's where Dwight has a moment. He starts cracking, and he gives the guy a mercy kill. I see it as a mercy kill. So a little bit of compassion cracks through, maybe it breaks open. And from that point on, I started seeing Dwight do and say things that were more on the helpful side towards Daryl. Dwight started saying, listen, Daryl, just fucking give in, make it easy on yourself. Even in the room, Negan had to tell Dwight, no, listen, Dwight, Daryl made a dumb decision, which, man, I know Daryl's got to be the badass, I get it, but brains, he's got to be the dumbest idiot ever. In that moment, because any half a moron would know. Just say, I'm Negan, get it over with, and then you can still hate him, you can still turn against him later. Just fucking say it, so you're out of the frying pan, or whatever the fuck the saying is. You know what, before we dive into that, his buddy though, the dude he shot, the Mercy Killing, how the fuck did he bring him back? I mean, he had a look on his face that he wasn't surprised, but it was a moment where he, like, something hit him, like a deep thought really hit him when he saw his buddy turn around. And they filmed it as if it looked surprising, but he had to have known, right? Listen, Dwight fucked up his motorcycle. Speaking of which, we didn't see that. I know he dropped it, but if you drop a motorcycle, will the tire get so bent and fucking, I think the tire was flat and shit like that. We're missing a scene. Maybe we'll see it later. I'm hoping we see it in a different episode. If we do, maybe it has to do with Jesus. Comic book fans know what I'm talking about, but they skip a whole thing with the bike, and I know there was a chase, and I know he fell in the trailer. I don't know if they just skipped that, which would be odd if they did, or maybe that's going to be in a new episode. But when he shot the dude who was leaving and they brought his body back, how? His bike was messed up, he was on foot. How did he get a walker? I mean, I kind of feel like he tied the guy's body to a tree or to something out there. Maybe some people from the sanctuary went and got him and brought him back and added him to the wall. I mean, something went down there where if they talked about this on Talking Dead or something, let me know, because I am just confused. I'm baffled. Who went to get the guy? Because Dwight was alone. If they did cut out a scene where Dwight was with more saviors and we just didn't see it, like with a truck or something, alright, yeah, they threw the bitch in the truck and brought him, put him on the wall. Now, with that said, I thought this episode was good. I was sucked in the entire time, mostly to see the shit Daryl was going through. They used a Polaroid with Glenn. I was really hyped for that to come around full circle, and it did. That shit was epic. I kind of wish maybe they took two, or I'm hoping that picture still floats around, because I want to see it on the wall. I want to see them defeat some outpost and have Maggie enter afterwards as they're going through the outpost and see her come to those pictures on the walls. Some shit like that I think would be friggin' epic. Anyway, so yeah, I was sucked in to see Daryl's story, how he's handling it, and then to see more of the sanctuary and how it functions. With that said, I really feel like I gotta go back and watch this when my expectations aren't so high, because I had such high expectations for this episode and it fell really short. I like the performances. I think Jeffrey Dean Morgan looked fantastic, minus the fucking beard. But he looked fuller, thicker. I don't know. It wasn't like in season 6. It was like, oh, it was kind of skinny for Negan, but he looked great. I'm half gay. Great. No, he looked like a nice, healthy, formidable Negan. You know what I mean? Austin Emilio, I don't know if I'm saying his name right, but the actor playing Dwight, I don't think they could have picked a better actor to play Dwight. I think he's fucking killing it right now, and I can't wait to see more. Speaking of which, this is where I'm going to put the warning. I'm going to go into some comic book spoilers. It's some pretty heavy stuff for what's coming at the end of the season, maybe the beginning of season 8. So if you don't want to know, leave now. Alright, so guys, look, in the comic book, it made it seem like after Dwight got the iron, before he even met up with Ezekiel and Rick Grimes and them, he wanted to do everything he could to get on Negan's good side, to gain Negan's trust, and then when the opportunity presented itself, he wanted to take Negan out or help the other communities take Negan out. But on the show, it seems like Dwight, in the stairwell when he's talking to Sherry, is even trying to convince himself that they made the right decision to come back. Now, if Dwight already had this plan, I don't really feel like he would say anything like that. Maybe he's just trying to fish for a response from Sherry. I'm not sure, but I really feel like this is a nice opportunity to show Dwight, have that turning point where he's like, I can't do this shit anymore. This is corrupting my soul. You know, maybe even thinking back to that time where he told Daryl, I haven't killed anyone yet. Once you do that, there's no going back. And it might even come full circle and have to deal with Daryl. You know what? Yeah, maybe we'll dive into this in a separate episode, but I really feel like there's a lot of potential to do something awesome here. Alright guys, I got a prediction video coming up right behind this. Hopefully, if I can get that done, be on the lookout for that, and leave your thoughts and opinions about this episode down in the comment box. I'm done talking. It's your turn.
Subscribe now.